Hey everyone. So if you want to monetize your SaaS product in next 1 month, then this video is for you. Let me ask you something little bit uncomfortable. So you're 25, 26, maybe 30. You've either just quit your job or you're planning to quit one. Now you've got a great product MVP that's been sitting with you for last 3 months. You've told your partner about it. You've told your 5 friends about it. You've even built a rough deck around it. Now, somewhere between that MVP and your first customer, you have a plan, which is launch the product and grow. Simple, right? Now, tell me in that plan, where exactly does how am I going to sell this show up? You can pause this video for 3 seconds as well to answer this yourself. Now, if your answer is we'll figure out marketing once we launch, you're walking into the same trap that has killed thousands of startups before yours. Maybe startups with better products than yours, maybe startups with more funding than yours, and the worst part, the product wasn't the problem. Now you know what kills most startups. It's not a bad idea, it's not a bad product, it's not even a bad team. Most startups die because they built something real, something people actually needed, and then had absolutely no system to connect that product to the people who needed it. So they solved the product problem, but they ignored the GTM problem, and the GTM problem killed them quietly, slowly, and yes, without mercy. And if right now you're thinking GTM, haha, I know, marketing, social media, maybe product and launch, and maybe some LinkedIn posts, then boss, this course is exactly what you need. Because what you just described, it is not a GTM. That's a launch event. A launch event is maybe 3% of what go to market actually means. So welcome to GTM First Principles. My name is Vipul Garg. I am an early stage GTM operator. I built a startup, watched it fail, spent the last few years sitting with founders who are making the exact same mistakes that I made, and I have built a framework to catch those mistakes before they become fatal. So this particular module number 1, it is the foundation, and by the time we are done, you will see every startup, every product, and every business idea through a completely different lens. So let's get into it. Before I give you any framework, I want to tell you a story. My story. Because we humans never value a concept until we feel the cost of its absence. I'll take you guys to September 2021. Me and my co-founder were sitting in a small rented room in Gurgaon with our laptops open. In that room there were no AC and fan was at full speed. And we were convinced that we had found something very real. The problem we had found was domestic help operations. If you've grown up in an urban Indian household, you don't need me to explain that particular pain point. Your maid doesn't show up one morning and your entire household collapses. Your mother is calling 5 people on WhatsApp, your dad is already late to work, and no one really knows when that maid is coming back. No one even has a backup for it. And when you try to find a replacement, it's pure chaos. Because there is no verification, no training standard. You basically take whoever your neighbor's neighbor has referred and hope they don't disappear after 2 weeks. So we saw that problem, and we saw the other side of it too as well. That for these maids and cooks, there was no such platform which can give them safe and fair work. And there was no safety net and a way to stand out except through word of mouth in someone's building WhatsApp community. It was a proper two-sided problem with real pain and real people. We decided to build a marketplace. We called it Onion Services. So we built this platform, we designed a verification system, we trained the workers around it and packaged the services into clean tiers. We priced it properly as well and launched it in South Delhi, Gurgaon and Noida initially. And honestly, it worked as well as we earned good revenue as well. Now families were using our platform, workers were getting better jobs through us, and the product was genuinely solving the problem which we had a proper intention for. We ran for 15 months and then we had to shut down. So the real reason was not because our product failed. It was not because the customers didn't like us. And it was not because the problem went away. We shut down because I could never, in 15 months time span, figure out how to find the right households consistently. The problem was how to reach them without burning through money, which we didn't have. Now, how to convert them quickly enough, how to retain them long enough for the economies to make some sense. Every month felt like starting from the scratch, because some months we had good demand, some months we didn't as well, and I couldn't explain why a customer chose us. And I couldn't make it happen again on the purpose. So think about what that feels like. You have real users, you have real revenue, you have real impact as well, but every month you are just hoping those WhatsApp forwards work for us, hoping those Instagram posts get seen by the right person. Plus, it was a game around referrals. We were hoping that someone refers to their friends or family person. That's not a business, right? That's a prayer. Again, we had a product problem? Definitely no. We had a GTM problem? Yes. And it killed us. Now, around this platform, 3 years down the line, we saw new startups emerging with InstaHelp, Snapit, and Pronto. And after learning their GTM sprints, we knew where was the gap exactly. So now let me explain those gaps as well to you. The ICP for us was too broad. We were targeting any household in Delhi NCR. Think about how many households there are in Delhi NCR. And think about how different they all are from each other. There can be a 28-year-old couple in a 1 BHK in Sector 56 Gurugram who might be having a very different urgency than a 45-year-old family man who is having his own bungalow in Vasant Vihar. We were trying to speak to both of them, but at the end of the day, we spoke to neither well enough. Let's talk about the channel as well. We were growing through Instagram Reels, WhatsApp forwards, and offline camps as well, when our actual buyer was a 35 to 45-year-old working couple who discovered new services through their housing society group and neighbor recommendations. We were loud in a very wrong room, and that mistake was obvious. But I didn't have a framework to see them then, right? So that's what this course is for. The framework I wish I had in September 2021. Before I spent 15 months learning it the expensive way. I'm sharing it now because the lesson is the whole point. You can build the right product for a real problem, for a real market, and still fail if you can't connect these two things systematically. The product wasn't the gap, the system was the gap. And the system has a name. It's called go to market. Let's build it. Okay, so let's talk about what GTM actually is. Because I guarantee whatever definition is sitting in your head right now, it's incomplete. Maybe it's wrong. I've asked this question to a lot of founders, early stage, mid stage, people who have raised money, and people who haven't. And I get the same 4 answers every time. GTM, it is a launch strategy. GTM, it's a marketing plan. GTM, it's the channel you use to reach customers. GTM, it's that one slide in the pitch deck. All of these are partially right, but they are all describing one part of the elephant. None of them are seeing the whole skeleton. Here's the definition I want you to tattoo somewhere in your brain. Go to market is the system by which a company creates, captures, and retains value from a specific market. Every word in that sentence matters. Let me break it down. Creates value. This is the product side. You build something that solves a real problem for a real person. This is where 90% of the founder energy goes. But it's only 1/3 of the job. Now captures value. This is the commercial side. You find the people with that problem, you reach them, convince them, and convert them into paying customers. Most founders think that this is GTM, but it's just the 2/3. Retains value. This is retention and expansion. You keep those customers, you deepen the relationship, you build something they come back to. This is what turns a successful launch into an actual business. And it's a part almost everyone ignores completely in year one. Most founders are playing one third of the game and wondering why they are losing. So let me give you an analogy that will make you this click. You guys must have saw chai wala versus corporate employee memes. You know the chai shop near every corporate office in India. That guy, the chai wala who's been there since before you were there in your onboarding, who knows every regular by name. He's doing better GTM than most funding startups. Think about it. His product is excellent. The chai is consistent. The cutting glass hits right every single morning. His location is fixed. Office road. It's impossible to miss that spot because this spot is there for last 10 years. His price is 12 rupees. He is there at 10 a.m. every single day without fail. His regulars know exactly when he opens, where he stands, and what to order. People discover him by walking past. They come back because the product is good and the price is right. They refer their bosses, their colleagues. He has loyalty, retention, and word of mouth, all without a single Instagram post. He's doing excellent GTM. He just doesn't call it. Now imagine someone else comes along, 22-year-old. I am graduate, chai brand idea. Now this guy is having premium packaging, 12 flavors. It's a proper online ordering app. There is a small angel round as well. The chai is genuinely great. Product is not the problem. But who are they selling to? College students, office workers, health conscious 30 somethings who want tulsi ginger chai. They actually don't know. So they tried to sell to all three simultaneously. They have their Swiggy and Zomato listings. They have Instagram reels, cold WhatsApp messages to household societies. The pricing is little bit confusing as well. The packaging doesn't say anything specific. Nobody can tell what makes them different from the 17 other chai brands on Swiggy and Zomato. 3 months later, they are burning money. The traffic is low, and the founder is telling investors the market isn't ready for this particular startup. The market was ready. The GTM wasn't. Product was not the problem. GTM was the problem. Now I'll take another example of credit. So Kunal Shah launched this product in 2018, and it specifically said that our app is for everyone who has a credit card. No, right? He said that our app is for all the credit card users with a CIBIL score above 750. That's only 35 million people in a country of 1.4 billion people. So most investors thought at that point that he was being insane. But I'll tell you a very specific point. Because he had a very hyper specific ICP, every single person who received an invite felt like they have been selected. Like they made to an exclusive club. The product, the messaging, the onboarding, the referral system, everything was designed around that one specific person who takes their credit score very seriously. Now, credit GTM was not about reach, it was about precision. And precision, especially in the early stage, it beats reach every single time. When you try to go to every market at once, you effectively go to no market. But when you pick one specific market and build everything, product, messaging, channel, pricing around that specific market, you win that market. And winning one market is how you earn the right to go to next one. So this is the foundation of everything. Look at how Cred launched in 2018. Kunal Shah didn't say our app is for everyone who has a credit card. He said our app is for a credit card user with a CIBIL score above 750. That's 35 million people in a country of 1.4 billion. Most people thought he was being insane. Investors pushed back because they said you were leaving so much of the market out. But here's what that hyper specific ICP did. Every single person who received an invite felt like they have already been selected. Because they felt that they have made into an exclusive club. The product, the messaging, the onboarding, the referral system, everything was designed around that one specific person who takes their credit card score very seriously. Now, credit GTM was not about reach, it was about precision. And precision, especially in the early stage, it beats reach every single time. When you try to go to every market at once, you effectively go to no market. But when you pick one specific market and build everything, whether it's product, message, channel, pricing, around that specific market, you win that market. And winning one market is how you earn the right to go to next one. This is the foundation of everything else we are going to cover in this course. Okay, now that we know what GTM is, let me show you what it looks like in practice. Because GTM is not one thing, it is a chain of 6 connected decisions. And these 6 decisions in this order determine whether your business works or whether it doesn't work. Now let me walk you through each one of them quickly. We go deep in the next 6 modules. Right now this is just the map. We'll start with ICP, which is Ideal Customer Profile. Who specifically is your buyer? Not urban millennials, not SMBs in India, not anyone who needs X. A very specific person who is having a very specific problem with a specific urgency that makes them look for a solution right now. Now, for example, for a diaper-based quick commerce company, their micro niche is 32-year-old women living in Tier 1 India who's having a newborn kid. Now, this is the first decision of identifying the ICP. Every other decision flows from it. Let's move to positioning. Given that specific person, why should they choose you over every alternative available to them, including doing nothing, including asking their cousin who knows who's who, including your nearest competitor? Well, positioning is not your tagline. It is the answer to one question: why you? Specifically over everything else. Let's move to messaging. Once you know who you are talking to and why they choose you over someone else, what exact words do you use to communicate that? In what language? On which surface? This is where most people confuse copywriting with GTM. Messaging is not about being clever or creative. It is about using your buyer's own language to reflect their pain and your solution back at them. So clearly, when they land on your website, they feel understood within 10 seconds what exactly they are required at this stage. Let's move to channel. Where does your ICP spend time? How do they discover new products? What platform, community event, or trigger brings them to look for a solution like yours? Your channel has to match your buyer's discovery behavior. Not what's trendy, not what's easy for you. So now moving to conversion. Once the right person arrives with the right intent, having read the right message, does your website or sales process actually convert them into a paying customer, or do you lose them at the door? There should be one clear call to action. There should be simple pricing and short sign up flow. And the follow-up after the first action should be properly designed. So this is the part where most startups underinvest in almost completely. Next, moving to retention. After they buy, what keeps them coming back? What deepens the relationship? What turns a one-time transaction into a customer you keep for 2 years? This is where the economics of your business gets made or broken. Now, these 6 elements are not independent choices. They are a chain. Break one link and the whole thing fails. And here's what makes this genuinely hard. The chain must be fixed in order. You cannot fix the messaging before fixing the ICP. You cannot pick a channel before you have your positioning. You cannot optimize your conversion before your channel is bringing the right people. Think of it like batting in cricket. You cannot play your favorite cover drive before the ball is bowled. The sequence is not flexible. It is very much structural. Here's the most common mistake I see, and I see it every week. A founder's growth is slow. Revenue is flat. So they immediately say, let's improve our marketing. They hire a marketing agency. They redo the homepage. They run meta ads. Nothing works. They conclude that marketing doesn't work for the business. What actually happened? They tried to fix messaging and channel, which is step 3, in step 4 without fixing ICP and positioning, which are step 1 and step 2. So the next copy still spoke to everyone vaguely. The ads reached the wrong people. The clicks came in and bounced immediately. Because the positioning wasn't specific to make anyone feel this is exactly for me. They had same budget, same effort, but wrong order. So this is why we spend an entire module on each element. Not because each one is complicated on its own, because they are only powerful when they are built in the right sequence, on the right foundation. GTM failures are not random. They are not unique to each startup. They are not even mysterious. They follow patterns, the same 5 patterns repeating across different products, different industries, different cities, and different founders. So in the last few years of working with early stage founders, I have seen these 5 failure modes repeat themselves so consistently that I can now spot them in the first 10 minutes of any conversation. If your startup is not growing the way you want, you must be experiencing one of these 5, probably 2 or 3 of them at the same time. Here we are decoding the concept of GTM Chain deeply. Let's go through them one by one. Failure mode number 1, the wrong audience. Everyone is my customer. Boss, I have lost of how many times I've heard this. Our product is for anyone who needs X. We are targeting B2B companies. Our market is urban millennials. These are not ICPs. These are descriptions of large groups of people who mostly do not need your product urgently. And they do not need urgently enough to pay for it right now. Here's the brutal truth. So when your message is designed to speak to everyone, it speaks to no one specifically enough to make them feel this is literally made for me. And that feeling, this is exactly for me, is what makes a person move from curious to paying one. Now think about how Zepto launched. They didn't say we deliver groceries to everyone in Mumbai. They said we deliver in 10 minutes. That promise wasn't aimed at everyone who buy groceries. It was aimed at a very specific person. Someone who runs out of something at 10 p.m. and needs it now. Not someone doing their weekly big basket order on a Sunday morning. That specific person has a very specific urgency, a specific behavior, a specific reason to switch. Now Zepto built for that person, everything else followed. When everyone is your customer, no one feels like you built it for them. Now how to spot this for yourself? Your homepage addresses 3 or more different buyer types. You cannot actually describe your last 5 customers and explain what they have in common. Let's move to failure mode number 2. Invisible positioning, which is we are better, we are easier, we are smarter. Think in your head, how many times have you heard a founder say we are better than X because we have a cleaner UI? Every single time. Better, easier, all in one. Powerful but yet very simple. So these words actually mean nothing because every single one of your competitor is also saying they are better and easier. When everyone claims the same differentiation, no one is differentiated. Positioning is not about being better. Positioning is about specifically different in a way that matters to your specific buyer. It's about owning a claim that no one else knows. Let's take a very simple example of Razorpay. When Razorpay launched, there were already many other different payment gateways in India. CC Avenue, PayU, InstaMojo. They could have said we are better payment gateway. Instead, they position around one specific thing: developer experience. Now, payment infrastructure that developers actually want to use, they owned the problem around that of bad integration APIs. They didn't compete on features. They competed on a very specific axis that their specific ICP, which is developers and technical co-founders, care deeply about. Their early blog posts were very technical. Their documentation was exceptional. And their onboarding was designed for someone who thinks in code. Everyone and everything which spoke to one person. Not we are better. A specific claim for a specific person on a specific axis that matters. Positioning requires you to answer 3 things very clearly. Who are your competitive alternatives and what do they get wrong? What category are you in? and what specific claim can you make that is true, provable, and that your buyer actually cares about. Now, if you cannot answer all these three in under 30 seconds, your positioning is broken. Now, how to spot this? When someone asks why you and not the next one or next competitor of yours, the founder defaults to we are better with no specific provable claim that follows. Now, failure mode number 3, messaging disconnect. Every founder always think in that way that they are writing for their investor and not their buyer. And it is incredibly common, especially among founders who come from engineering or consulting background. Here's what happens. You spend months building the product, you spend weeks perfecting the pitch deck, to present to investors, to mentors, to your college batch groups. Now everyone nods, everyone says interesting problem space. And then you write your homepage in the same language, which is sophisticated, technical, full of big words, an AI powered end to end full stack solution for enterprise workflow automation. You read it and you feel proud. It sounds serious. It sounds like something your VC would understand. Now your buyer lands to this page. Let's take an example. It's a 38-year-old operations head at a mid-sized company in Pune. They're looking for something to fix a very specific daily frustration. Their team keeps missing follow-ups. They read your headline, they understand none of it. They leave in 8 seconds. Now let's take a simple example. Open your homepage right now, or homepage, whatever you are building right now. Read only the headline and sub-headline. Close the tab. Now answer. What does this company do? Who is it for? Why should I care? If you can't answer all these three from those 2 lines, your messaging is disconnected from your buyer. Good messaging is not clever. It is not sophisticated. It does not sound like a pitch deck. So good messaging makes your buyer feel in 10 seconds that you really understand their problem better than they do. It uses their words, the words they use at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. in the night when they are venting about their day to their partners. Not your words, their words. The best thing a customer can think when they land on your page is, these people get it. They are describing exactly what I deal with. That's the whole job of messaging. Now, how to spot this if you are going in a wrong direction? The homepage headlines describe the product's features. The language uses terms the buyer would never use to describe their own problem to a friend. Now let's move to failure mode number 4, which is channel mismatch. Being loud in the wrong room. Imagine you are selling a specific B2B SaaS tool to CFOs of mid-sized manufacturing companies in Ludhiana and Surat. And you're trying to reach them by posting daily reels on Instagram and sending cold LinkedIn connection requests. That CFO is not on Instagram looking for software. They're not accepting connection requests from founders they've never heard of. They find new tools through industry associations, trade events, referrals from their CA or ERP vendor, and recommendations from someone in their business network they actually trust. You're shouting in a room that they are not in. So channel mismatch is one of the most expensive mistakes in GTM because it burns both time and money while giving you the illusion of effort. You spend 3 months posting content, running campaigns, doing outreach, and seeing nothing. And then you conclude marketing doesn't work for our kind of business. The market is not hard to reach. You're looking for them in the wrong place. Now let's take an example of developer tools versus enterprise SaaS. If you're building a developer tool, your channel is GitHub, technical communities, open source contributions, documentation, and honest technical blog posts. Developers trust peer credibility and technical depth. They do not trust ads. If you are building enterprise SaaS with a 10 lakh rupees annual contract value, your channel is warm introductions, outbound sales, and industry events. Enterprise buyers do not self-serve. They need a conversation, a reference, and a reason to trust you before they sign anything. So we can say they both are in same product category, but they're operating in a completely different channel because the buyer is different and the price point is different. So channel is not about where you are comfortable. It's not about what's trendy. It is about where your specific buyer discovers solutions. And you are showing up there consistently and credibly until they trust you enough to buy. So the channel that works is not the channel you prefer. It is a channel your buyer uses. Now how to spot this? High effort is there on your channel. There is consistent execution, but the right buyers are simply not arriving and the people who are engaging are not converting. So that's the big negative part. Let's move to failure mode number 5, which is conversion leak, losing them at the finish line. So this is one that breaks founder hearts the most because everything else is working. The right person is arriving, they're reading your page, they're nodding, they're convinced, and then they leave without converting. Why? Because the funnel leaks. Because there are 5 competing call to action buttons on the home page. The buyer doesn't know which one to click. The pricing page says contact us for pricing. The buyer, who just wanted to know if they can afford it, leaves to look elsewhere. The sign up form is 7 steps long. They abandon on step 3, and after they sign up, no one follows up. And they forget about the product within 48 hours. Now think about the last time you added something to your cart on Myntra or Meesho or Amazon. Now imagine Myntra not sending you a reminder, not showing you the item again, not giving you the nudge. That's what most startups do to their best leads every single day. Now I'll just talk about the recent example of one of the audits I did. So I recently did an audit with the startup. I won't name that startup. Their messaging was really exceptional. It was genuinely one of the best I have seen at the early stage. Their ICP was clear. The right people were arriving on the page, but their conversion section scored actually 0 out of 10. 0. Because there was no single primary call to action. Primary pricing page left very basic questions unanswered. Sign up flow was way too long. There was no email sequence after sign up. And there was no objection handling as well anywhere on the website. The right buyer was landing on a great message and then failing into the hole where nobody caught them. The fix had nothing to do with the product, the ICP, or the copy. It was entirely in the funnel design. One focused week changed the entire conversion path. So getting someone to your door is hard. Losing them at your door is actually unforgivable. And it is almost always the most fixable problem in your entire GTM. Now how to spot this? Traffic is coming in, people are reading, some are even starting the process, but close rate is low and nobody can clearly explain why. So these are 5 failure modes and I want you to notice something about all of them. None of them are product failures. None of them mean the idea was wrong. Every single one is a GTM failure, a system failure, a failure in how the business connects to its market. And every single one is fixable. If you are honest enough to diagnose it first and disciplined enough to fix the right thing in the right order. Now I want to address something I know is floating in your head. Especially if you read a lot of YC content or you spend any time in Indian startup LinkedIn pages or X pages, which is product market fit. PMF, the holy grail. And every investor asks about it. Do you have PMF? It is a question every founder dreads before they feel ready to say yes. And look, PMF is real, it matters, I'm not dismissing it. But I want to draw a very clear line between what PMF answers and what GTM answers. Because these are two completely different questions. And confusing them is one of the most common and most dangerous mistakes I see. Now, what is PMF? Does a market exist that has this problem and wants this product? And what is GTM? Can you find that market, reach them efficiently, convince them to buy, and do it in a way that is repeatable and economically sustainable? So, PMF is a proof that the product is wanted, and GTM is the system for delivering it to the people who want it at a cost and scale that makes business sensible. Here's what PMF without GTM looks like in practice, and this is more common than you think. You have real customers, they love the product, your retention is good, your net promoter score is high, people are referring friends, but every new customer came through founder hustle, personal network, or a random post that went viral once. You actually cannot explain exactly how they found you, you cannot replicate it, your revenue is unpredictable month to month. Some months are great, but some months you are wondering if the business is dying. So investor asks how you plan to scale, and you genuinely don't have a structured answer for it. Because you have a PMF, but you don't have a GTM. And without GTM, you don't have a business yet. You have a very promising side project, and a startup with average PMF with excellent GTM will almost always outlast a startup with excellent PMF and broken GTM, because distribution wins every single time. Now look at Jio in 2016. Okay, they had capital access, but the point is little bit different here. Did they build the best telecom network in India at launch? Arguably wrong. The network had real issues, the phones were basic, by pure product standards, they were not number one. But the GTM was extraordinary. Free data for months, eliminating the biggest friction point for first time internet users. Physical SIM distribution in every small town, every district, everywhere that Airtel and Vodafone treated as an afterthought. Now, one clear democratic positioning was there, which is internet for every Indian, not just the urban elite. They actually didn't win on product quality. They won because their GTM reached people that no one else was bothering to reach, with a message that no one else was bothering to say. You didn't just disrupt telecom, they changed what the internet means in India. And they did it with GTM, not just product. There is another example closer to home for this particular audience. Think about ShareChat. They didn't even spread awareness in tier 1. They were not the most technically sophisticated social platform, but they went after tier 2 and tier 3 India. Users who wanted content in Bhojpuri, Marathi, Tamil and Kannada at a time when every other platform was optimized for English speaking metros. Their GTM was the insight. The product followed the GTM decision, not the other way around. So PMF is the foundation, GTM is the building. Nobody lives in the foundation. You need both. But if you had to choose where to invest more thinking during the 0 to 1 stage, invest in GTM. Because without it, even a product that people genuinely want cannot find the people it was built for. And you will spend 15 months, like I did, with a great product and a business that won't grow. So don't let that be your story. Right? Okay, we have covered a lot. Let me leave you with just 3 things, not 10. Not a slide full of bullet points. 3 things. Because if you walk away remembering 3 things clearly, that's worth more than 20 things vaguely. 1. GTM is not a launch event. It is a chain. ICP, positioning, messaging, channel, conversion and retention. 6 links built in order. Break one link and the whole chain fails. and the chain must be built from the left. You cannot fix messaging before you fix ICP. You cannot pick a channel before you have your positioning. The order is structural, not optional. Think of it like IPL team selection. You don't pick your bowling attack before knowing the pitch conditions and the opposition's batting lineup. You read the situation first. Same logic here. 2. There are 5 failure modes, and if you're not growing, you're living in one of them, which is wrong audience, invisible positioning, messaging disconnect, channel mismatch, or conversion leak. None of these are product failures. All of them are GTM failures, and all of them are fixable, but only if you're honest enough to diagnose them first. Don't do what most founders do. Feel the symptoms, blame the market, and change the product. The product probably isn't the problem. Diagnose the GTM before you touch anything else. 3. PMF without GTM is a WhatsApp forward that nobody saves. Everyone talks about product market fit like it's the finish line. It's not. It's the starting line. PMF tells you the product is wanted, but GTM tells you whether you can build a business around delivering it. So Jio didn't win in 2016 because they had the best network. They didn't. They won because their GTM was extraordinary. Right? Free data, physical SIM distribution in every small town, one clear message, internet for every Indian, not just the urban elite. So distribution won, and product came second. So PMF is the foundation and GTM is the building. Nobody lives in a foundation, right? Now before module 2, one simple thing I want you to do. Just open the website of any startup. It could be yours, could be a competitor's, could be something you saw on LinkedIn last week. Read the homepage for 10 seconds. Only the homepage. Then close the tab. Now answer 3 questions without looking. Who is this for? What does it do? Why should I care? If you can't answer all these 3 from those 10 seconds, you just found a GTM problem. Write it down, take a screenshot, voice note it to yourself. We are going to fix exactly that in the modules ahead, right? Now module 2 is about ICP, the most misunderstood word in the startup world, and the one thing that if you get it wrong, it breaks everything else downstream.